Alright. We are back, and some of the already done the dailies for today. And truth be told, I recorded the video, but I kind of wanted to just come back and kind of look over the developer's note. There's a couple of things on it. We also get the image for what, at least the artwork of what our Super Evolution is. So just want to kind of go over that real quick. We'll do couple PvP battles, and then we'll call it a daily for that. But we've got some new content coming out, which is pretty exciting. It's going to be a kind of a PvP, 14 individual battles, as it says here, and you will battle kind of a you will retain your HP and SP after every battle, and to get the final winner of it. This is going to be interesting. It's going to also be kind of, I don't know. I think it's going to be one of those that if we set up if it's going to be a 4-on-4, which I assume it's just going to kind of go after I assume it's PvP just from the way it is, but the way I'm thinking about it is if it's actual PvP, it'll be just eventually finding, people who have basically the meta monsters, and it's gonna be it. But I don't know. It looks interesting. It's a nice take. So if it's not PvP, we will definitely see though. But that's exciting. And then we have the Storm. We have Boltwing's Super Evolution here, and it looks pretty good. For the artwork, we'll have to wait and see what it translates onto the 3D models. I think I'm going to be more partial to the baby version, the small version of Boltwing, than over the big one. Both look pretty good, so we will have to wait and see. That's coming out with the next big update. We've also got another Light and Dark Astromon being added from Light and Dark Candling, so we will see how those two come out and going forward. This one is kind of what I will I'll definitely touch on as far as my opinion on this. This one we'll come back to, but just kind of jumping down, we have Baby Shark's going to be coming back for June, which will be interesting. People who've missed out on this special one, it's nothing. Once again, unfortunately, nothing too good. Baby Shark wasn't that good, but once again, to get them done and out of on your Astro Guide done is still, I'm all for that. And that was about it on here. Now, what I want to talk about on here is just kind of why I'm just remaking this video for a little bit on here. But they're changing the Elemental Dungeons availability for getting stuff for your Super Ascension. Not the Super Ascension materials themselves, which is what I'm going to talk about, but the stones you need out of the Starstone Dungeon and the Elemental Dungeon. So I 100% like this change because it makes availability so that you don't have to just wait, Monday only for Dark Dungeon or Wednesday only for the Water Dungeon, etc., etc. But being able to go into any dungeon on the weekends is good. But the issue I have is just the improved rewards on here. Now, again, I think this is a good change, but I think this is a 100% just the wrong idea to solve a problem that's going on with it. Because if you look at Super Ascension, and I'm just going to show off my Victoria here because it's the same on every other Astromon, it's just a difference, right? If you're already at this point in the game, okay, if you're not at the mid game, but you are at the end game of Monster Super League, meaning you can go into Extreme, you can do Colossus, you can do Titan for the clans, right? You can do decent in PvP, whatever have you with this, right? This system here, they're making it sound like this is an amazing system here, and I'll be honest, this is all situational garbage. The reason why you guys don't see me going into the dimensional dungeon is because I just don't care to have a chance at something else happening. Like fiery resolve is cool and all for my attackers, but it's 40% chance when I get attacked. How often does that happen? Or grants a 40% chance to weaken the enemy. Like, these are all for the amount of effort that has to go into getting this, and that's namely the dimensional shards. And this is what I'm just going to get at, is to go and farm the light stones and the star stones is not the issue here. And I'll load up some PvP fights while I talk about this. But the elemental stones and the star stones are not the problem, because again, I'm going to use the example of where you're at in your account. You know, if you can already get into extreme, or you're farming, let's just use super evolution materials because it's almost the same thing. If you're farming super evolution materials, that means you are clearing extreme at a good enough pace, or at least a pace you can be, you know, happy at. Once again, I'm happy at the pace I'm doing it. I can farm pretty much a super stone a day. So that means every month I could have something super evolved. And I'm content with that. And I don't need to necessarily change that for the foreseeable future. But when it comes down to the super ascension stuff, right, you can go farm those elementals dungeons during the day on the day that you need them, and you'll be just fine, right? So the player is already conditioned, is how I will put it, to be able to go in and farm those materials with little effort. You know, 100's nothing when you farm for Super Evolution. If you were to spend all day in the Starstone dungeon, you would easily have your 100 Starstones for what you need. So the cost of those being increased for the reward is being increased for it is fine, but the problem, I don't think that's addressing the actual problem with the Super Ascension. Once again, the Super Ascension is I guess nice just because it adds that extra talent on there, but let's talk about that. It's still random. You don't get to choose what comes off of it. And then on the fact that when you press the button to reset it, you just you have to go and spend the resources to do it again. So unless you're going to nerf the dimensional dungeon and actually make the bosses easier for people to actually, to get into, and again, we've talked about this 100%, it's endgame stuff. You really need to have the Astramon to get through it. But realistically right now, only 2 of the dungeons are actually easy enough to farm, and that make it, that make it accessible. So there's two things being farmed barely a week for me, right? For a random skill that if I don't get a skill that's even decent for the Astramon, because once again, we even talked about this in gemming, I have to look at the Astramon as a whole, right? You have zero control over it, just like you have zero control over the substats on your gems. Why do I care then? Why does it matter? And so, once again, having the ability to get more rewards and having the accessibility to get that on Saturday or Sunday. So, again, looking at people who might not have all the time, you guys being able to go, hey, I missed Friday's light dungeon. Now on the weekends, I can just choose to go in there. That's an amazing change. Or let's say the wood dungeon, right? Pick whatever dungeon. That's an amazing change. I'm all up for it. I just feel the change is going all for the wrong reason here, because it's trying to promote a system that is downright garbage, in my opinion. Like, again, these skills don't really add anything to our Astramon that honestly changes the game in such a way that, this random skill put my Astramon just at the top of the list. It doesn't. It doesn't. And so for me, it's one of those things where I partially agree with the change. It's just it's for the wrong reason. So again, if 433 listens, if they 100%, you know, and I will make a big video at the end of the year once we're done with saving up for the year and we do the summons, because that's the whole reason why I'm doing these videos in the first place. But if 433's listening, yeah, like I'm telling you right now, you're putting weight onto a system that honestly is useless. I'm just gonna come out and say it doesn't change anything for this game. Yes, we all have our stories of, oh man, I was in a battle and yeah, the skill, for instance, you know, kicked in and it made that one battle better. Well, one battle out of the 2,000 that you can, you know, that you can do in less than 2 days in this game, I'm sorry, I really don't. That doesn't matter to me when I look at it. Again, it's not looking at a game as a whole, and it ends up being a useless content put in the game that's just gonna sit there, right? Again, I'm all about powering up our Astromon and getting them there, but why don't we increase our level cap? And start giving us a little bit more statistics. That would have been a much better, if you would make Super Ascension, let's say Super Ascension was to increase the cap. So I go from a 6-star, now I go up to level 70. I'm a 7-star now, right? I'm not going to say we start piling stars on here for aesthetic reasons or whatnot, but maybe changing the color just like you did. Had that changed my ability to go from 60 to 70, this would be a different conversation, because at that point, right, we might get a little bit closer than having to just watch, you know, boss monsters be level 130, 140. You know, is it going to be level 180 bosses by the time we finally get to see level 70 on our Astromon? So it's just little things like that I'm wanting to point out to them and say it's accessible only to a select few of people, and it's not accessible to everybody, and that's the shame. And again, I understand that it's end game content. Don't misguide what I'm saying here, or you know, construe what I'm saying. I get that, but at the end of the day, changing how we get rewards out of a system that we already farm it enough that it's not a problem to get those 100 star stones. It's maybe a problem, yes, that you can't get 100 high star stones on a full day of farming, right? So once again, I agree, and I guess since I didn't do the gold dungeon in the dailies, I'll just do it here. Having the ability on the weekends to farm whatever element that you need, great change, right? We've needed that for the longest time, because again, that does cater to the people who don't have the time and who miss out during the week. I get that, but that's not a change that you direct towards the Super Ascension. That had nothing to do with the Super Ascension, right? Again, if you're already at the point like I am on my account, and a lot of people are who are already at quote unquote end game, even people who are just getting from the mid game into the end game, you already can clear Extreme. You can already clear the Starstone dungeon to the point where you can farm this stuff and get the materials you need, right? So again, it's not the change is not being directed. It's being directed at the wrong thing here. This change could have happened without the Super Ascension, without this dimensional rift here, right? And so my disappointment is the fact that this just is wasted content to me, because as you guys kind of see, it's not make or breaking the game. It's not something that was so, you know, amazing. It's not changing the statistics of your Astromon like the other things. So, but I digress. I just wanted to cover the changes a little bit, and also give my opinion on it. And again, it's a good change, but it's not going to change my opinion, you know, going forward with like the Starstone dungeon and things like that. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in tomorrow's daily.